So board, scoot on over to action items, which is action items. We're now going to number 10 on your agenda. And at this time, we are going to have a motion regarding the Series 2013B Advanced Taxable Bonds Refunding. And let's go ahead and get the motion on the floor. Then we'll get the second, and then we will have the commentary come up. And I believe Mr. Gallagher is here to share that information with us. And this is, I hate to say it, but this is a positive for the school district that directly results from the pandemic. So we're just going to go from there. Do I hear a motion to approve the Series 2013B Advanced Taxable Bonds Refunding as presented?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the board adopt the bond resolution authorizing not exceeding $90 million general obligation bonds of the district for the purposes of 1, refunding the district Series 2013B bonds to achieve a savings in debt service payments, 2, paying installment purchase agreement payments due May 2020, and 3, paying cost of issuance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson. We now have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Okay, thank you, Ms. Green. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Salters if he'll open it up for us, and then board will open it up for questions and comments after we've heard the commentary.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This evening, we bring this resolution to you tonight, and it's important for you to understand that this resolution simply authorizes us to do this. It doesn't bind us to do this. So if the market over the next few days or weeks takes an interesting turn and is not beneficial to us, then we don't have to move forward with this resolution. But tonight I have Mr. Mike Gallagher. He's with Compass Financial Advisors, who oversees our financial advisement, and I turn it over to him just to kind of brief you quickly on the funding.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Salters. Welcome, Mr. Gallagher.
Good evening, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Dr. Little, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I have printed copies, and they also have a copy to put up on the screen. So whatever y'all are most comfortable with.
We'd love a printed copy, if you don't mind.
Okay. There you go. As y'all know, the market has been quite chaotic over the past couple of weeks. One of the things we noticed was there was an opportunity for your 2013B bonds to effect an advance refunding. You may remember that when I've been here in the past, I told you about your bonds aren't callable for 10 years. So what this is you would issue these refunding bonds in 2020. The money would sit into an escrow account, and they would pay the bonds off in 2023 when they become callable. The interest rate on your 2013B bonds, the refundable portion, you'll see down the bottom is a 4.27% rate. We've been monitoring the market, and best we could guess, as of Friday, a 2.47 was the rate. Now, that has been wildly lower, and it has come up some. Today, the Treasury's ended up over 1%. A 10-year Treasury hadn't been under 1% probably since the beginning of time. So that's something that, this is an opportunity. It may be here, it may not. We're working to get the documentation together, so what you would need to do would be authorized moving forward with the transaction. If it is and the market's not good, we're going to pull the deal back. The only cost you could possibly incur would be the rating fees. Our fee and Mr. DeBose from Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd, there is no fees for us if the transaction doesn't go through. But to look at this, you see the area in blue is the payment on the prior bonds. Total debt service is $120,453,744. The area in purple is what we're projecting at the new rate of 2.47%. These are competitively bid. It'll be put out. There'll be a POS put together. It'll be on the street for at least 1 week, and then we would receive bids. If the bids don't come in sufficient that the net present value savings is over 3%, the resolution has a requirement that if it's not over 3%, the deal's canceled. We won't move forward with it. The only possible expense you could have would be the rating fees. Those folks don't give us an opportunity to make that a contingency, so we'll monitor it before we send it to the rating agencies, which will be about 2 weeks prior to the sale. We would send it to the rating agencies, have the issue rated, and then be able to get the POS on the
What
street
kind of
and have a
dollars are
sale.
we talking about with the rating fees? Do you know? Or can you kind of guesstimate?
Rating fees would be probably $100,000, but that's baked into this overall transaction of an $85 million bond issue. Now they may give us a little latitude because we have other issues coming this year, but that is pretty much their standard once you put in the request and you accept the rating. So but I do want to make sure you're aware of that. The area in purple is what we're projecting the new payments to be. The savings would be approximately $450,000 each year for a total gross savings of $8.1 million. Because that's all payable over time, we always like to look at it at a present value. What's it worth in today's dollars? And so that would be $6.6 million. We like to see that PV savings be over 4% for an advanced refunding. And so this one definitely meets the test at being 8.5. We've seen the numbers be much higher, but you really don't know till you're able to be in the market.
Madam Chair, and if I could just point out, just to highlight the volatility of the market, when Mr. Gallagher and I first had conversations about a week ago, we were closer to like $10.7 million in the savings. And so it could easily come back up, to that point. But we, obviously we'll monitor it. If you were at that level, that's almost $600,000 a year. In overall savings. So just highlighting what's going on in the market, it's an interesting time for sure.
So, Mr. Salters, right now, with it being as volatile as it could go down even before we close this deal. Is that right?
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. It could go down, but if you don't approve it, you don't have any opportunities for any savings.
Okay.
And I might point out that we're talking about $8.1 million. So, even though it has gone down, it's still an $8.1 million savings to the taxpayer. So that's a significant number. So.
All right. So if we were to compare this like a mortgage refinance, because essentially that's what we're talking about here is a refinance of existing money. The only difference being though, when someone refinances their home, the term starts over. So if you refinance a 30-year term.
Yeah, and this is no extending maturities. So you see we go to 2038 right. On the old bonds. We're only going to 2038 on the new. We've structured it for level savings. That way you have the same amount of savings every single year.
And I guess with the original bond series in 2013, the principal payments, was there a honeymoon period where the principal payments didn't pick up and it was just interest only for a while? Is that what we're seeing?
No, what you're seeing there, the reason you're seeing no principal payments from 20 to 23, those are part of the non-callable maturities, so we can't call those. So we surely wouldn't want to include debt we cannot pay off in the refunding escrow.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And then if we look at it at total, we're looking at we're looking to approve a $90 million bond refinance, but numbers, help me find the $90 million.
The reason for the $90 million is we include the principal plus the interest. So we have to borrow to make the interest payments. We'll invest it into state and local government securities, so there'll be an escrow that earns some money, but it may need to, that escrow is going to need, so you'll see where there's a negative arbitrage of $3.5 million.
Right.
So it's going to have to generate or carry, they will not have enough to carry that $3 million of it. But you still receive a savings of $8 million.
So it's essentially these first 4 years, 20 through 23, that's what we're essentially placing in escrow to make up the difference for the $90 million.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. And if the thing falls apart, doesn't happen, does it cost us any money?
The only thing it'll cost you is the ratings fees.
So the $100,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Gallagher, are other school districts doing this as well?
We've recommended it to clients. Greenville is actually taking action on one of theirs. The unique thing about this is a taxable because the tax code doesn't allow you to do a tax exempt. Greenville's doing one where they have 103%, a 3% call premium, and their transactions actually working, and we're selling it tomorrow. So.
Okay.
And this essentially falls in the municipal bond market, correct?
Correct.
So in the, historically speaking, in the light of we're not gonna see interest rates going lower. So we have to assume our environment is only gonna be going up. What do we traditionally see in a rising interest rate environment, how it impacts muni bonds?
You're going to be locked in. The day you sell,
Right.
The day
We'll
you
be
sell,
locked
the
in,
day
but-
you're locked in.
But what typically happens?
I mean, you could see pricing. I mean, pricing is lower, but pricing is lower this year than what it was at the end of last year. But with instability in the last week, it is tripped up just a little bit. So, I don't know where it's going to be. If I did, I probably wouldn't be here tonight.
Right.
So.
So there's no direct correlation. They're not inversely correlated or directly correlated. It's just
where the
whatever the
market
mood,
goes.
whatever the mood is. Gotcha.
Any other questions, board? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Thank you, Mr. Salters. So, board, we now have a motion and a second on the floor. Mr. Anderson gave us the motion. Ms. Green seconded it. So, all those in favor, and I'm going to reread the motion to approve the Series 2013B Advanced Taxable Bonds refunding as presented by Mr. Salters and Mr. Gallagher, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries and it is unanimous. So, Mr. Gallagher, you go take care of us. Thank you. Thanks for watching out for that for us.